Hey everyone, this is the Halifax Real Estate Podcast. My name is Jason Paul and I'm a licensed realtor at Keller Williams Select Realty in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'm here to help you gain a better understanding of real estate in Halifax and introduce you to a wide variety of people that work in or with our industry as well. Richard Payne from eXp Realty is back on the Halifax Real Estate Podcast to break down the everyday life of a realtor, from helping our clients in the current market, what our day-to-day jobs actually entail, the stigmas of our industry, work-life balance, and so much more. Please welcome back Richard Payne. Hey Richard, how are you?
I'm good, Jason. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's always good to be back with Jason.
Right?
Yeah.
These aren't horrible podcasts, right? These are...
No, I'd say we're a long way short of horrible.
I just for like the little introduction to the episode today, we're actually talking about the life of a realtor.
The fun life of a realtor. Yeah.
And what we do on a day-to-day basis and what our actual day-to-day lives look like,
Yeah.
because I feel like we have a lot of stigmas against us in our careers based
Just
on
a couple. Yeah.
what people consume in terms of content, whether that be
Yeah.
from social media, HGTV, or what they just observe and are, sticking a sign on a lawn and
Yeah.
house sold for $100,000 over asking, and how much do they get paid on that? So I thought, oh, I just got to be Richard again for this topic, because you've been in the industry now for almost 10 years.
Yeah,
it's
been a while.
I'm 4 years old now, like 2 years of actually doing the business and 2 years of being a floundering idiot. But
Right. Isn't that how we all start? That's how we all start.
I hope so. I
Yeah.
hope it's not just me.
No, trust me, I had those years as well. Yeah.
I guess of a little bit of context, we've already tried doing this once.
True. Unsuccessful.
And for the listeners at home, I literally I recorded at double speed and we sound like chipmunks. So Richard's a good sport and he's coming back to go it again because it was such a good time last time.
We should put a little clip of the chipmunk in there just to see what it sounds like.
We could audio it into right when I give the intro of the chipmunks, and we just like a
let's see what it
little
sounds
audio
like.
file of
Yeah,
like what it actually.
That'll be interesting.
and Jason both have websites that hopefully provide a lot of really good information and are getting leads to sign up. I actually have a website. We'll talk about that. So these kind of things.
So okay. First question, of course, is
Yeah.
how right now, how is your day-to-day life going as a realtor, given what the market's doing?
Yeah, it's mad. Like there's just no other way. Or there's a very famous coach in real estate called Tom Ferry, and he says it's just bananas. And I'm like, yeah, I call it mad, I call it crazy, I call it insane, but bananas just about sums it up. Because it's not just the market's a little bit bananas. It's the schedule and the life of a realtor is therefore also bananas. Because we've got all of the usual stuff that we have to do anyway, but now let's throw in the fact that we've got to get in to see houses basically at whatever time in the day our clients are free. But it's also got to be done before, 5 p.m. on a Friday, because that's when all offers have got to be submitted by. So the first thing you do, somebody says, I want to go and see whatever property. You're like, great. First thing I have to do is go and check on the system to say when have all offers got to be in by. Because if this has been on the market for maybe 2 or 3 days, and you ring me up at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Friday, well, if offers have got to be in by 4:00 on Friday, we are pretty much screwed. It's going to be really difficult to get in there and decide if you want to write an offer. And if you do want to write an offer, how much is that offer got to be?
And how many people are competing?
Yeah.
So
there's so much like, oh my God, someone wants to go and look at a house. Okay, scramble. Let's get all these things figured out. Okay, we got a bit of time. It's Sunday.
It's always the first look.
Yeah.
And like for a little bit of context for the listeners is that on our realtor website, Paragon, we have a section of all listings that says instructions to members.
Yeah.
And
back end information.
That is specifically for us as realtors to view.
Yeah.
So when Richard talks about as soon as a client gives a house that he wants to see, we might not be on our computers. I don't know if you use Paragon Mobile.
It's not the quickest thing
I
in the
don't.
world.
It's not great.
No.
So I have to wait till I get home, whatever time that is, after my viewings with already clients.
Yeah.
Go to Paragon, look at instructions to members, because typically they don't disclose the actual instructions on the actual realtor.ca website or wherever they found them on Viewpoint. It's never on there.
Instructions to members.
Exactly.
That's the whole thing, yeah.
And then you're like, Tuesday, offers due Wednesday at 5. Okay.
How's my Wednesday? Already booked, actually. Yeah.
And then you go, how's your client's Wednesday?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a big juggling act.
Yeah.
Because it is just, as everybody says, it's mad. It's bananas out there.
Yeah, and like juggling, this has been a learning experience, I think, for everyone in our industry.
Yeah.
I know I'm going day by day, just like, and it's really weird because you get random days where it's quiet.
Yeah.
And you don't know what to do with yourself.
There's things that you could be doing for definite.
There's things, but like, do you want to?
Yeah. Do you need a break? Yeah. It's like, okay, let's stop working this 7 days a week and like 10, 11 hours a day is what it kind of seems like now.
Yeah.
And there isn't, there's obviously times my day starts fairly early in the morning because I want to get my exercise in. I got my dog, I got to walk around the block. So really, I'm not like working until around about like 9:15, 9:30. But equally, as we get towards the end of the day, it's very often my conversation to my wife is she's really good. She looks after almost like everything I need. She's like cooked supper for you, like she's done everything. And like, God love her how she manages to do everything and put up with me as well at the same time. She deserves the medal. What are we now? 22 years? 22 years married? So we're getting close.
You're getting close.
We're real close. So from that aspect, like she's literally like, all you have to do, she said, just let me know at like 4:00, are you going to be home by like 5:30? And it's pretty much every day now, not so much the weekends, but certainly weekdays now. It's like, I'm still looking at houses at 6:30. Sky's bright. So I'm like, we're still looking at houses at 6:30, 7:00. I'll see you at 8.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's, you get a dinner inside of you and like half an hour later, you're like, okay, spend a bit of time with the family, but then 9:00, you're back on like doing whatever you got to do, either prepping for tomorrow, the day after, or you're writing up new listing agreements, or you're writing up offers. You're dealing with buyer brokerage agreements to get people under the client relationship they need to be protected with before they go and start writing offers on houses. So the day in the life is just mad at the moment.
Bananas.
There you go. It's bananas. We'll stick with that one.
For the it's funny you bring up like how late the nights have been lately. Yeah. Before this week, from Monday to this is Friday.
Yeah.
So Monday to Thursday, the last 4 nights, I have been closing my laptop on average between like 9:30 and 10 p.m. as like to finally call it a day.
To literally consciously shut it down.
Yeah, and be like, okay, I've now done, as you say, the prep's done for tomorrow. I know what I have to do tomorrow. I know what viewings I'm going on. I know what the schedules are. I've told my clients what the schedules are. I know what I have to be for offers. I know where I've got to be. I've put the time in for lead generation time tomorrow. I've got to get my workout in. I know what times I've got to eat. We're podcasting as well, so you're scheduling in these interviews and stuff to bring on guests, and you're doing all these different things. You're looking at social content and all these other juggling acts of all the things that I've taken on by myself. I'm not complaining. I love what I do. Yeah. So, before anyone gets there, it's just a juggling act. I enjoy it. Yeah. But like when you turn off, I don't know what you do, but I know like when it's 9:30 and 10 and I turn off, I need like another hour to like
slow down,
decompress and like sit and like just like absorb useless YouTube content so I can like turn
something,
off.
Anything to like just switch your brain off from being 100% all the time real estate.
Yeah.
And that's especially when you have partners, family, kids, whatever, like that's a hard thing sometimes to do, is to be able to literally walk through the door and almost shut off the real estate world like at the door. Because I know that my wife and my kids don't really care what happened to me in terms of real estate today. Like, I'm sure it's not, like, to me, it's the most exciting thing. It's the stories we have. It's the, like, oh my God, you won't believe what blah, blah, blah did today. Yeah. Yeah. Well, to us, that's really exciting. It's interesting and it's fun. I'm sure Jane is looking at me going, what are you talking about? I really don't care. Like, it's not that exciting.
It's funny because, like, I'm the opposite.
Right.
I'm like things happen all the time. We can swap stories all the time. But like when Andy comes home, she's like, "How was work?" I'm always like, "Oh, it was good."
And that was it.
And like that's because like I don't feel like it's a big deal to her if I go into like, oh, I got into like a heated argument and negotiation with an agent.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, I had a client compete and write this offer, but I don't think it's gonna be enough, and we're trying to juggle the market. Or like, oh, I just had a new client call me today and they need this and this and this done. Or like, oh, like we just got this person thing, we just got this cool thing for the podcast. Like I'm always like, oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Because I don't think and every time I bring up real estate, she's always very fascinated, but I'm always like, do you like, is it that?
Are you actually interested?
Yeah. Are you patient? Are you just,
Yeah.
because I'm your significant other, are you just absorbing me because I do the same thing to you?
Yeah.
Like it's funny how that works. How do you find time off right now?
Oh, easy. I don't. Well, we sort of do. So, the schedule for me is very much like to keep fit and keep healthy. There's nothing worse than the life of a realtor when you're literally rushing around in a bananas market and you're like, oh yeah, did I eat today or did I just eat crap today?
Yep.
Did you stop off at the fast food joint? Did you just go, that's quick, that's easy, I'm just buying that? Because the more and more you do that, the worse and worse your health is going to get.
Okay, I'm going to reposition the question then.
Yeah.
We'll get into time off later, but
Yeah.
I know where you're going. I think we're going to segue into this. Okay, so instead of saying time off,
Yeah.
how does your day typically go right now? Say 9-8, like what time a weekday or actual work day? How does it start? What's the schedule like? Where does it go and when does it end?
Yeah. So the day starts for me with trying to get that exercise in the morning. Because if it doesn't happen for me first thing, I know it's not happening, period. And, I'm 49 now. So for me, I'm like, I've got to start making sure that health is actually staying as a fairly high priority. I was lucky in my 18s and 19s and 20s and 21s, eat whatever I wanted, and it didn't really matter. I was rowing or running or doing something so active that, you couldn't put any weight on. It was just impossible. 49, it's changed a little bit. Like,
Couple too many beers.
Oh my God, yeah. You're like, yeah, okay, what's going on here? So for me, it's get the exercise done early. There's also a lot of like, get your head straight, because the other problem we have in our industry is we roller coaster from one day being you're on top of the world and the next day you've crashed and burned because something went horrendously wrong.
Oh, the highs and lows.
Oh, that's hard on the body and the mind and the family.
Yeah.
And the significant others, the partners, because they're listening and seeing how you're reacting. And I know for a fact there's days that I'm like a bear with a sore head walking around the house.
Yep.
And that's when Jane looks at me and says, for the love of God and our relationship, do you want to go for a run? And she's like kicking me out the door. And I'm like, but it's raining. She's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Go. Because you need to go and blow off some steam and do something that gets you out of this mood that you're in. So I like to get the morning set up and basically nailed. Now, the hard thing after the morning is it's always a good idea, because in our world, if you're not doing what's called lead generation, if you're not finding new buyers and new sellers and attracting those people to you, you know full well that that's going to pay in around about a month to 2 months' time, when you're kind of like, oh, wow, what happened? We've got no deals on the go. We've got no transactions. We're not showing any houses to people. We're not finding listings. So protect the morning really about 2.5 hours for what we call lead generation, which is finding people that need our help.
Yep.
That's really what lead generation is. So it's protect that slot as well.
And for lead generation, for those people at home that might be curious as to what that really means, the statistical timescale of lead generation is that for every day you lead generate, so you try and find people who need to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, 90 days later, you'll get paid.
Exactly.
So if you stop those lead generation activities, you might as well call yourself retired.
Yeah.
Because the market will forget about you. If I were to stop all lead generation activities today, if I were to stop podcasting and putting myself out there, I'd be out of business by September.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Other than like maybe close friends and family.
And so the struggle for us now is we're busy with buyers and sellers and investors.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we got to protect our mornings, because you have to do that 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Like, you could do it 7, but
no
minimum. No, that's probably not a smart move. Nobody wants to hear from you on a Saturday or a Sunday.
That is how you burn out and you quit.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. Let's not get into that just yet.
Not 7 days.
Yeah. So my mornings is very focused around the business work.
Yeah.
It's making sure that the business has got future proof on it.
Yep.
As opposed to the afternoon, which is it's right here, right now. We're in the car, we're looking at houses, we're doing listing presentations, and we're finding the right person to say, okay, this is the house for you. Great. Let's talk about brokerage agreements that we have to sign to represent you. And let's also talk about how's the market, how's the house pricing, are we multiple offers? Do we need to go over asking price? What are we going to do about conditions? So there's a whole
other world,
next level conversation as opposed to just, we're looking at houses. Yeah, I want to buy that one. It's like, well, okay, we got to talk because there's a lot more to it than that. So keep the afternoons and early evenings to basically be doing the business of real estate.
Yep.
The morning is work in or on the business rather to make sure you're generating future business so that you don't just stop, stagnate, and then, bank account runs dry real fast.
I would say that's the best way to describe it. In the mornings, you work on the business. If you use that time frame to use that time for that stuff. And then the afternoon, you're working in it.
Yeah.
Because we are salesmen.
Yeah.
And we do have to convert
license.
We do have to convert sales to feed our families and pay for the bills.
Absolutely.
You're full-time, I'm full-time. This is literally what we do.
Yeah.
So my schedule is the same way, actually, in a sense that like my day always starts with a workout 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And then I'm lucky that I don't have kids yet, so I can get up a little later. My day starts at 6. I'm in the gym.
Yeah.
It's 6:15. By gym, I'm in my home and I work out at home.
Yeah.
I'm usually done by 7:15, shower, read a business book for half an hour.
Yeah.
And then I'm into the podcast. I usually work on between 8 and 9 a.m. And then I lead generate from 9 to 11.
Yeah.
And by that, then you have to input all that into the CRM to update the contacts. Done by 11:30, 11:45. Breakfast is between, I intermittent fast.
Oh, yeah.
It's 5 days a week. So the first meal is always a smoothie. It's never actually a meal. First smoothie is at noon. And then 1 p.m. and on, it's open for whoever needs me at what time.
You're out looking at stuff.
Yeah, you're out appointments, qualifying and meeting new people and networking because you always have to build your network. You're out with buyers, you're booking listing appointments, you're writing offers, you're showing homes, you're getting how many times you've done it so far this year where you've shown a home, client says, I need to write an offer, but you haven't discussed writing offers yet. You haven't discussed buyer designated brokerage agreements or
how it works.
Working with a realtor.
Yeah.
So it's like 8 p.m. and they're like, I'm ready, and offer to you tomorrow. And you're like,
okay,
do you have an hour?
There's something we need to talk about. Yeah. And that's our struggle right now is shutting down the day.
Yeah.
Like I've got, it's probably not that great now, but I did have a really good routine where it was the like pre-day routine.
Yep.
It's the starting work routine, the shutting down work routine, and the night routine. So it's like you got 4 routines in the day. And it's like the nighttime one is the struggle right now.
Yeah.
Like the shutting down work one's not too bad because it's that, okay, what's going on tomorrow? Quick look at the calendar, going to bed knowing what I've got to do the next day. There's nothing worse than going to bed and then you wake up in the morning like, oh crap, what was I doing today? Who am I seeing? And then you're like, oh my God, 8:30, I've got to. And, all of a sudden you're chasing your ass all day long. So the nighttime ritual is the struggle for me right now. Because like you were saying, it's the turning it all off with enough time to decompress so that the mind can actually go sleep, regenerate body, ready for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's my challenge right now is I'm like, I can't get that in my head.
It's hard when there's so much going on. And like, I don't know about you right now, but I'm almost at cognitive overload.
Yeah.
Because there are so many texts and emails coming in from so many people that like, I'll turn the computer off and I'll sit down and relax. And then by 10:15, 20 after 10, my mind brings up that innocuous text from 2:15 p.m. from this person I hadn't spoken to in a while who wants this done. And I said I'd do it by 4. Now it's 10:15. And I'm like, oh crap. I gotta look at this. I gotta turn my laptop on, go back into Paragon, look at this property, tell them what I think. So then we're back at like 10:30, 10:40. And I'm like, I'm asleep.
Yeah. And that's so, when people start talking about like, realtor, and this, let's get into the worst phrase that me and you ever hear. Oh my God, the market's on fire. You guys must be making a killing.
my favorite phrase right now
from everybody.
Every single human I know is, market's great. Must be making all the money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, if only you knew.
Exactly. So this is a little bit of an education for people. So, when you have that conversation, the first thing that comes to my mind is, no, not really. Because it's a hard market. Like, me and you can probably put together all of the offers that we've written this year so far, and we're on the 23rd of April, and we can put together all the offers that we've not won, but we've written on houses. And it's probably all of the offers and more that I actually successfully won last year, is what it feels like to me.
Okay, I get where you're going. Yeah.
So there is a huge amount of time and effort that we're putting into things that are just not giving you any kind of a financial reward in terms of we get paid a commission.
Yeah.
So there's an awful lot of stuff. Plus, for me, I have a really good success rate with my buyers, especially on writing offers, ish 92 to 94%. So if I write an offer on a property, let's go back 2 years, pretty much guaranteed it would get to closing day, because that's when we physically get paid. So closing day is the day you actually get the keys. It's not the day it shows up on Viewpoint as sold, as a red square or a red blob or whatever it is. That's not the day that we get paid.
No.
Our payday comes when people get the keys.
But even then, it comes a day after.
Or two sometimes.
Sometimes if you get closed on a Friday, you don't get paid till the Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it takes time to turn up. It's got to go through the banks.
For people to understand
and the brokerage.
For how we get paid, when you give the keys to the client, that means then the buyer has transferred money to the seller, but now the seller has to cut the checks and sign the checks to go to us for our commission. That's usually not the lawyer's office. They hold the checks. Sometimes, 9 times out of 10, they courier it to the brokerage.
Yeah.
So it can get there maybe, if you're lucky, end of the day, on the closing day, on the day you close, probably the next day.
Yeah.
The administrative staff needs to cut open that letter, do the paperwork, get it into their system, and then you get paid. That's probably at the end of the next day.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they don't even mail it, and you get a call or an email 3 days later being like, "Hi,
do you want to get your commission check?
Your commission check has been sitting here for 3 days. Great.
Yeah.
Let me just drop all the things I'm doing today
to go and get that commission check." That's why we have couriers, Jason.
Yeah.
I figured that out real fast. I'm like, I don't care.
I'm starting to.
Yes. Yeah. That's one of those necessities.
Right. But going back to the market, how easy everyone seems to think it is, and we're making a killing, is that it's a bit of ignorance in the sense that they don't see the day-to-day. They see the sold. They see the picture on Instagram.
Yeah, and they hear the media.
The media.
Like, oh my God, $150,000 over asking price. Well, yeah, that might not have been me, and it probably wasn't Jason. It was probably not 99% of all the other realtors that are out there. It was just the two realtors, one listing it, one buying it. Those are the ones that obviously did the $150,000 over asking price. So those are the ones that got the deal done.
They don't talk about how many people lost.
Yeah.
They don't talk about
how many people didn't get their offer accepted.
The $150,000, $200,000 over asking. How many offers were written? How many offers were competing? It could be 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Like I said on an earlier podcast, the highest I competed with last summer was 27, which was fun.
Yeah.
You're just picking a number out of the sky and seeing it not hit.
Yeah.
But all those buyers, those people that lost that competition, are still in the market, and they're now
still trying to find.
And they're now only more aggravated and aggressive in the next offer.
Yeah.
Because they're sick of losing and they need the house.
Exactly.
So then if you're still in this market and you still have buyers in this market, you're competing against that.
Yeah. And you're also, from a buyer point of view, I mean, we know that this is our job, so we can be semi-emotionally detached from the outcome. Semi. So imagine though if you're not emotionally detached. So you are the buyer. Like, imagine
picking yourself up off the floor.
Yeah, and how many times have you had to pick yourself up off the floor because you thought this was the one, you thought this was the offer that was going to win. So a lot of our challenge sometimes is we're almost like a little bit of a counselor stroke psychologist, trying to keep people excited about writing offers on houses, even though it might be your 10th one. And that can get a little draining and weary, because the whole point of buying the house is our job is to facilitate the transaction to get people what they want at the price that they want, within the time frame they want, and all that usual stuff. So imagine that situation, it's stressful, but it should be a really happy thing as well.
Yeah.
But if you're getting through 10, 12, 14 offers, you're probably getting really battle weary by the end of it. And you're almost just like, well, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. And then we ring up and like, yeah, you got your offer accepted. And they're like, okay, great. And you're like, yeah, I would have liked a little bit more enthusiasm, please.
Yeah.
But
I know you mentioned earlier about the roller coaster.
Yeah.
And
the up and down.
I think like the hardest thing for me or as realtors in general is riding that wave where like a year ago, even the excitement of writing an offer, you were usually going to get the accepted offer and your clients are going to be really excited.
Yeah.
I've had clients I've been working with since October and the market has become what it is and they're almost so priced out of it. The last time we wrote an offer for them was probably a month ago because nothing else has come up that just fits what they're looking for.
Right. Yeah.
And I thought we wrote a really competitive offer. I actually thought we were going to win because I thought they'd finally come of age to write the number on paper that would get the deal.
Yeah.
Only to find out we finished fourth.
That's tough.
And that killed me. I was on the floor being like you ride the high, you think you're going to deliver the best news because they've been looking for it.
Yeah.
And then you get the no and you find out how far off you were and then you smash it into the floor and you have to pick yourself up, call the client and be like, on to the next.
Yeah.
You know, this is where you finished.
It's you've got to, when you're delivering that kind of news after the 10th time of it not working for them.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you then say, but listen, we're still in this to try and find you the right house.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this one, clearly, because we didn't win the price war that's going on right now, maybe this is just the world telling you that this was not the right house for you.
Yep.
So we've got to keep going because our job, almost like our dedication to you is we want to find you the right house
for the right price, and we want to get you in. We want to help you achieve your goals.
Absolutely.
That's what we're in here for.
Yeah, which is home ownership.
Yeah. When you're buying.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the hardest thing I'm finding at the moment is not only have we and you, realtors, we've got to keep our emotions in check about the whole thing and try and keep ourselves fairly level.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's that coaching and psychologist and care worker for your buyers and, even your sellers sometimes can get really stressed and frustrated. Like, it's nice to have 15, 20 different offers to look through. But at the same time, sometimes they're getting overwhelmed with like, well, how do I know which one's the best? Is the best the one with the highest price or not?
It's incredibly overwhelming, especially when you get 15, 14, 16 offers.
Yeah.
And 5, 6, 7, 8 of them all have personal written letters.
Oh, the letters.
And they
love letters.
We're talking about the selling side here, right?
Yeah.
Where they've included. Now, I had a client write the most personal letter I've ever seen in my career.
Yeah.
They hand wrote it, hand delivered it, dropped it off in the mailbox.
Wow. Yeah.
They included a picture of their wedding day with their dog of them. And then I've read the letter and almost teared up. And I was like, how can a seller even like remotely turn this down? Like this is, there's so many personal touches to connect. We finished third. They went with the best offer.
Highest price.
Right. Over leveraged.
Oh.
Came back to market. Actually didn't even go back to market. Called us.
So they did.
The letter won.
Yeah.
And my clients, when I told them to write the letter, laughed at me. They're being like, come on.
Really?
The cynic being like, how often does this work? I'm like, 1 in 6, 7, 8. It's not common, but like sometimes it just pushes.
Yeah.
And that one just...
I've got clients moving here from Calgary.
Yeah.
And we wrote the love letter, like with the photograph of them and the 2 kids and the dog and everything. So let's see how that works out for me.
I'm praying for you. And by
we're 1 of 5, so it's not like...
It's not crazy.
It's not crazy. Well, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's
5,
not crazy.
It's not 15.
I'm used to double digits.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm used to double digits. 5 is like almost like odd saying because that means I'm not writing $100,000 over. I'm writing 40, 50, 60.
Yeah, okay.
I'm saying you can.
One day, if
you
we get the offer,
can.
I'll tell you how much over asking we had to go. So I'll find out. If we win, I can tell you.
But I want to bring it back to us too because we're talking about our careers and our day-to-day lives.
Yeah.
So the other thing I think of riding the emotional roller coaster is negotiations.
Right. Yeah.
And working with our industry, our peers.
Yeah.
Because that can be, there's a law on the line.
Yeah.
We're in a commission sales business. you have no idea what someone's financial status is.
Nope.
Maybe they haven't had a closing in 3 months and they need the deal. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that money is spent in their head. Maybe they just, there's so many things. And the average realtor doesn't do that many sales in Halifax.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not as if we're all sitting here doing 30, 40 deals a year kind of thing.
No,
that's top 10%, 15%.
I think statistically the average realtor does like 6 to 8, which is equates to like, I think it's like 30.
And that inside of Halifax Regional Municipality, HRM, there's like what, 1,400
something. Like I don't have these. It's what someone mentioned to me like a few months ago what the actual statistics looked like. But when you talk about that, the way negotiations, like your half of the battle could be, or 3/4 of the fight, and it shouldn't be a fight, could be with the agent on the other side. Now we've all had the wonderful, great experiences, but like any industry, you get the great, the good, the not so great, we'll leave that where it is.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you find someone who like, they think their job is to fight tooth and nail for their client, and they go tooth and nail for their client, and they take the exhaustion out of it because you're trying to find a way to compromise, because a deal doesn't happen without a happy buyer, happy seller coming together to make this deal happen. Right now, it's mostly happy sellers and happy buyers because of the negotiations and the market being the market. But like, that's also a hard thing to ride, as well as the emotional roller coaster of getting screamed at by someone else on their line.
Yeah. And that's, let's look at the emotions involved in actually getting your client to either win the offer or actually get them from a listing side, which is the sellings, actually getting the sellers to list with you. Like, that can be hard in this, because right now everybody's kind of looking at agents going, well, I can do it myself. I'll stick a sign at the bottom of the lawn and everybody will just come knocking on my door. Yep. And I'm like, well, there's a little bit more to what we do from selling houses, listing houses. There's a lot more to it than just that. Yes, it's a little easier in this market, but there's no less time, effort, and dollars spent on actually marketing a property.
Yep.
It's like you've got a way of marketing a property, and whether it be, just a $70,000 mini home or whether it be a $4 million mansion, there's always dollars involved. There's probably more dollars involved in marketing a $4 million house than a $70,000 mini home.
Yep.
But it's still time and effort, and we treat them all the same. It's not as if you're like, well, I'm going to go above and beyond amazingly for the $4 million, and the $70,000 mini home, I'll just get by.
You won't have a career.
No,
you won't.
We have to treat everybody with the same respect and the same care and attention for everybody. It doesn't matter, in terms of what's the different listing that you're doing, because
everyone has different wants and needs. And our job, as we said earlier, is to help people achieve their goals.
Yeah.
That's our job. It's to facilitate whatever they want to do in their lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's our job.
Yeah.
Now, yes, the common misconception is that, stick a sign on the lawn, it sells $100,000 over, easy time.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is the work to go into a listing and get it ready, because that stuff, staging, painting, decluttering, inspecting, photos, video, social media content, all these different ways to market and promote a house, which we don't get the time anymore because sellers want them on the market right away. So there's not, because the market's so hot, they want to catch the wave. You're still going to get away with, you can get away with it now where you don't have to do as much, but you're going to lose it on the long term, because it's still the houses that do the work and take the time that reap the most reward.
Yeah.
It's not so much as simply as sticking a sign on the lawn. I know we're defending our position right now because we are biased, because this is our career.
Yeah.
But I know people that have stuck signs on the lawns who've called and said, we thought it was this, but it was this. And I'm like, well, yeah, because who's facilitating the viewings?
Yeah.
Who's dealing with the buyers? Who's dealing with the buyer's agents? Is your lawyer the one telling people what and when and how they can enter the home, that they're COVID-19 safe, that they've done self-isolation? Have you had a stager and tell you how to properly stage the house so you can get the best bang for your buck? Have you done the things that help your home sell for the most amount of money in the least amount of time?
Exactly.
And if you don't, you can still end up losing on the short end because you didn't get the $100,000 over asking that you thought you were going to catch. In reality, you got 20 because there's still so many humans in need of houses.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's, it's stick to the process. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's like everybody, like you have your way of prepping a home and pre-marketing and all of these things, just like I do, just like all the other realtors do. It's just each one of us has got our own different flavor of how we do it and to what degree we do it. versus people who either don't do it at all and the people that are like 10 out of 10, knocking it out of the park every time. Me and you, we're 10 out of 10 because we're amazing. There you go.
No bias here.
No shameless plugs at all. But that's the thing. It's like, we've been around long enough that we've got a process, a system, and we know it works time after time after time. Hot market, slow market, regular market, it doesn't matter. You still have to do the marketing you have to do because that's what we're about.
Or it's also about, it always comes down to price.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Even in this market, it's always going to be price.
Yeah.
You come out with the right price, even if you just get it on MLS, you can still get away with it if you price it right. Yeah. But getting the price right,
that's market knowledge.
That's market knowledge.
Yeah,
that's understanding the nuances. That's understanding the supply and demand going on. That's understanding what the month to month doing, what the day week to week is doing. That's where you see the real quality is in who can pick the price that gets it. And you'll see that in a buyer's market rather than a seller's market when it comes down to when it really is a reflection on what the market's doing.
Yeah, when we get a shift, it's like they always say, when the tide goes out, you'll see who's swimming around naked. So that's when you'll find the people that know how to stay in business and are business owners as opposed to I just have a job of selling real estate.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's also That's also a big distinction too.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who, this is when we talk about the emotional roller coaster again. Yeah. They're in the job.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was talking about this off air, but like I had a negotiation go south, and it's fine. These things happen.
Yeah.
The person on the other end of negotiations rode the wave and like really, really let me have it. And what they didn't realize was that I had another buyer for the deal.
Yeah.
So my first buyer was walking away, didn't want the house. I had a buyer, another one, call and say, hey, if they fall through, I want in.
Yeah. And
when I had mentioned, well, it had turned sour. The relationship had just turned a bad corner.
Yeah.
And the other end had said, I'm not taking another offer from you.
Yeah, basically, I don't want to work with you.
I don't want to work with you. And I just, and it was nothing that, we didn't do anything wrong. We followed the whole game plan. We did everything by the book. It was just we weren't emotionally attached to the deal.
Yeah.
They were. And they took that emotion out on me. And unfortunately, they lost in the sale because as soon as I told them I wasn't going to be, I had to call my second backup buyer and be like, hey, they don't want me involved in the deal.
Yeah, they don't want to work with me.
And I said, I advised my friend and buyer to go to someone else. I could recommend the realtor and get the deal. And luckily for me, I built up enough of a rapport with the individual that he said, no, if they don't want to work with you, they don't want to work with me. So we're on to the next house and they're back to market.
Yeah.
But if you ride the wave, you ride the emotional roller coaster, you can get these extreme highs when you win. But the wins are so few and far in between in this market for buying that you're mostly going to eat a lot of lows, which can take you into some dark places. And that's the balance of juggling of what it comes with in this climate that we're in right now and the toll it can have on us.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then, once we start talking about, okay, let's get back to the dollar side of it, for us, it's what people think we make is not what we actually get to keep because we are self-employed.
Yes.
So nobody's giving me a pension plan.
No.
Nobody's giving me medical insurance.
Nope.
Nobody's taking my taxes off the top to then go and pay the government, the CRA, the money that I owe them. Nobody's doing my HST for me.
Yeah.
So I've got to do my own HST. So
do you do your own HST?
Yeah, I'm an accountant. Of course I do. I'm good.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Because my time went to hire an accountant, but you are one.
Yeah,
so
I won't do my corporation tax return.
Yeah.
Because we own a corporation for the real estate business. But I'll do my HST return.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm quick enough and in theory smart enough because I'm a chartered accountant. So I should know how to do that and do it quickly. But I'm not going to put my name on a corporation tax return because I'm like, that's probably a little flag to the CRA that they should probably come and audit me.
Yeah.
Like, the owner of this corporation is doing his own accounts. That's interesting. I wonder how many mistakes he might be making. So, no, we don't do that.
Yeah.
But we do our own HST return. So, it's about having the business that we've got to run it.
Yeah.
So that business clearly has costs. And it's our job that we have to have money set aside for those things to be paid. So, I want my kids, and clearly me and my wife, we're going to have our own pension scheme. So I'm taking money from my commission and putting it away in that. The first thing I do is something like 22% of every commission check that I actually get, then that's government taxes for me. Because I'm not getting to the point at the end of the year where I do my corporation tax return and my personal tax return. So there's now 4 tax returns I have to do. And then the accountant says, you owe dollars to the government.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't have that because kind of spent it because it was in the bank account.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a good way to live your life as a realtor.
Yep.
So there is an awful lot of costs that we know we've got to keep set aside. And even though it might be tempting when you have a deal that goes south and all of a sudden you look at May and you're like, no deal's closing. And then you're like, but in that account there, I squirreled away blah, blah, blah dollars.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's that managing that aspect as well, which another thing, the regular employee out there that's saying we're making such a great killing at this at the moment. Yeah, but we're also taking a huge amount of risk in our lives. Yep. Because if we don't do a deal, we don't necessarily get paid.
And that's where the stress comes in.
And that's when the stress comes in. So it's not only the stress of, okay, we've got multiple offers and we're trying to run around to help buyers and sellers do everything they need to do. We've also got the stress of, but I've got to manage my bank account because it's going to cost me X $1,000 a month
to run the business,
run my house.
Yeah.
Well, therefore, the business has to pay to run my house. And it's got to pay on top of that for income taxes, CRA taxes. And on top of that, then it's got to pay for the business itself. So there's 3 elements.
There's 4 brokerage fees, NSAR fees.
Yes, because we have licenses that have to be paid for.
Don't forget insurance.
Oh, errors and emissions insurance.
Our emissions insurance. Yeah. We pay our mandatory courses that we have to do to maintain our licenses. Yeah. And I'm not saying that these are heavy expenses, right? Like the cap of the brokerage fee, the
is
cap
by far the biggest
expense, and we'll get into that in a second. But like the NSR expenses, I think are quarterly $300, $350, monthly $90, monthly real estate fees at KW is like $60 unless I order some signs or I order something else from KW. Yeah, I don't know what EXPs is. My cap at Keller Williams is $20,000 a year. So what that means is my commission split is 70-30 with the brokerage until I pay off that full $20,000, and then I get to keep 100% of my check. But in that 70-30 split, the government takes their cut off to 70. Yeah. The business takes its cut off to 70. There's more coming out of that 70, and then you're paying the brokerage their 30. So like it'll probably take 8 to 10 deals on average to pay off the cap. Yeah. Right? Easily. There's more to it than just simply we get a fat commission check of 10 grand and get to go to the bank, which is the scary part because we do. Yes. True. That's the scary thing is we actually do get these fat checks. Yeah. And in the course and through teaching, no one teaches agents what the actual expectations are with this money. Yeah. And what comes out of them. You have to go and find this knowledge by talking to people who have been more experienced than you in this place. Yeah. To say, how am I supposed to, I've got this number, now where do I put it all? Yeah. Because it's not, you don't just put it all into the piggy bank and then just go start spending. Like, you can't live your life like that, because that's talk about another roller coaster to live on, is you try living that emotional roller coaster of commission in the bank, no money in the bank. In the bank, no in the bank. Sales slumps. Yeah. They do happen. Oh, yeah, and, absolutely. It's all cyclical stuff. And if you don't get money in the bank and you're scrolling it away when you come through a sales slump, it's a different kind of stress when you've got reluctant buyers in a hot market to write an offer and you need to check. Yeah. And it usually, average deal is 6, 8, 12 weeks. Yeah. So if you don't have anything in May and we're on April 23rd today, the odds of you writing an offer today that gets accepted, goes through firming, and is closing at the end of May, I mean, it's tight. It can happen, and it does. In this market, it does. Yeah. But in general, not a lot of odds in your favor. 60 days-ish. Yeah. From writing the offer to then getting to closing day. And again, we don't drive that closing day. It's the people who are buying the houses and the people who are selling the houses. Yeah. It's, what do you want? What will I agree to? So if they say, actually, I want to close this on the 31st of December and we're at the beginning of April, it's not our job to say, well, actually, can we bring that forward to like June? I'd like a paycheck earlier, please. No. They're like, no, I need it for December. So you're like, yeah, okay, December, that's good. Yeah. As long as the seller agrees straight, we carry on. Yes. So that's the other element that can get a little frustrating. I came from a background chartered accountant where, I had the pension,
I had the private medical insurance that was paid for by the company I worked for. I could also buy shares at a discount in the company that I work for. So that was kind of a little bit of a pension retirement thing. So, and I didn't, it wasn't up to me to decide whether I got paid a salary every month or not. It just turned up.
Yeah, because you did a job.
Because I did my job.
Did you take your work home with you? Or did you clock out and you had to turn off?
Well, I was lucky. The company I worked for, I still live in Fall River, and I was working downtown Halifax. So to me, I'd catch the ferry. So I had a definite start time because that's when the ferry got me to Halifax.
Yeah.
And I had a time I had to leave work, otherwise I wasn't catching the ferry.
Yeah.
So, that last ferry, if I was leaving anything past 6:30 at night, I wasn't catching that ferry. So my car's on the other
Gotta
side
get
of
to your
Halifax.
car.
My car's in Dartmouth. I'm in Halifax.
Yeah. Call a cab.
Taxi.
Yeah.
And that's a lot more expensive than jumping on the ferry. So, you learn real quick that there was an end time. So the good thing of being
employee
an employee is there was a start time and there was an end time. Yeah, it was month end, year end, quarter end, things like that, and you'd have to do a little bit more work. But it's not like, with a realtor where it's like, yeah, you can work 24/7, 7 days a week if you feel like it.
That's
I
how you
wouldn't
die.
recommend it.
That's how you burn out, man.
So that's the difference is realtor world is you're taking on an awful lot of risk financially in your life versus employee, which is little safe, secure. Like I look at mine. I mean, I've got 3 kids and I've got a wife. Yes, we've got the cars, the mortgages, and all these kind of things that I've got to pay as well. So I look at how much it costs me to be self-employed. Well, I think I'm paying something like $400 and something a month for medical insurance. I squirrel away, I think it's around about $1,200 to $1,400 for investments and pensions and retirement and stuff. What else is there? Well, then you got the mortgage of running the house and everything. And I got
groceries,
3 kids,
car insurance, car payments.
So 2 kids in university.
Running a real estate business.
Exactly. Like my house is not a cheap house to run. It's not a massive house. It's only like 2,800 square feet. But it's not like in terms of running Richard's business and Richard's life, how much does he need every month to survive? It's not a small number.
No.
So that's the other added pressure of being a realtor is every single month you need just to survive this much money.
Yep.
So what are you doing every single day to make sure? And that's really one of the biggest things I have on my little board that gets me going every day is make sure there's this much money to keep life steady.
It's how you lead generate.
Yeah.
It's how you lead generate. And this will come full circle in a sense that this is where people struggle turning off because they don't have the deals and they know they could be doing something. I went through that for at least 2 years of not learning and being uncomfortable with watching a movie versus not working.
Yeah.
And being on my phone or having a beer with friends versus not working because I always felt like I could be working. I could be doing something proactive in my career. I could push myself to another level.
Yeah.
And it took a while because you and I have heard horror stories of realtors under the gun to make a sale. This is a story I heard at a training session a few years ago at Keller, and we were talking about lead generation, how important it is to your business. And this realtor stood up and had mentioned he can't not answer the phone.
Yeah.
And he was explaining a story of how he was at his child's birthday party. She's under 5, and how a buyer called to see a house, and he left the birthday party to go view the house because he wanted a sale or he needed a sale. And you talk about it and you're like, oh, that's it. That's where the anxiety hits. And that's where not being able to say no and not being able to lead generate, which is why we have to do that job needs to be done so that if you're just out having dinner and
the phone rings
and it's unknown number, you can turn that down and enjoy your dinner because you've done what you need to do during the week.
Yeah.
To make sure that you're paid in 90 days.
Yeah.
But that's where a lot of people get tripped up is in that mindset or anxiety of I don't have enough. They're not coming from an abundance because they haven't done the work to fill up their pipeline to get the sales to cross over.
Yeah.
Which is then where you get pushy salesmen. I don't call them realtors or pushy salesmen. They're trying to push a product onto you to make sure that they can pay for their livelihood.
Yeah.
And that's where I find a lot of new realtors make the biggest mistake in a sense of not doing the hard work of lead generation.
Yeah.
Right?
And I mean, going back to new realtors as well, this is not a cheap business to be in.
Not to start.
No, because there is an awful lot. And, it's nice to get a really nice paycheck, but like we've just discussed, you're not getting it all. First thing the brokerage does is come and says, great, I'm going to take 30% of that money. The rest of it's yours.
Hold on. No, let's go even earlier. How much is the licensing course?
Ooh,
when I did it,
what are we at? Like 5?
When I did it, it was 3. And I started my course in October 2016.
Yeah. Is that with all the fees at the end that you have to do to join for the first year as well? Because that's a kicker.
I paid $3,000. I had to buy a laptop, what you're seeing in front of me now, to be able to do the course online. So that was, I spent $1,600 on New Service Pro for Microsoft. So, and then I spent $3,000 on the online course.
Yeah.
And after 6 months of doing the course, I passed, got my license. No, I didn't get my license. I had to pay for my license.
True.
Which was
you passed the course. Now go and buy the license. Yeah.
And that was, Anya, I only had $2,800 left in cash I had squirreled away for serving.
Yeah.
And Anya had to give me the other $700 to pay for the licensing, to get my license. And then, so that took me into April 2017. No one told me in June. You have to pay for your license renewal. I had my license for 3 months and had to pay for a license renewal at $500.
Yeah.
And then I had to pay for my errors and emissions insurance again, which was $950 going. And then you have your monthly NSAR fees and your monthly KW fees and your people, when they tell you when you get into business, they'll always tell you, oh, you need business cards. You need to get on websites. You need this and all these magical systems that provide you all the business in the face of the earth so that you have money. Come on.
Yeah. That's the hard thing here is our cost to entry, which is the licensing course, which is the decent laptop so you can actually do the course as well as then use that for business afterwards. And then the licensing fees as soon as you pass the exam, like that's not cheap.
No.
That's a good, like we're running $5,000 to $6,000 like straight off the bat. And you haven't even done a deal yet because you don't have your licenses.
You don't even know how to do a deal. You got your license.
Exactly.
The licensing course.
You passed the test.
It teaches you how not to get sued.
Yeah.
You don't know how a deal works.
All you did is you passed an exam.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's go to the real world now and let's talk about this is a business that you now have. And it's not a job. So now you're in the business and now we got to sit down and go, okay, now let's talk about real world practicality, which is, that's one of the things that we're always talking to the Association of Realtors and not necessarily the commission, but the association. It's just they say, well, that's the brokerages that you go and hang your hat with, the Keller Williams, the EXPs, the Remaxes,
Royal Pages.
Yeah. It's their job then to take you and
teach
train you
how to be a business owner.
How to be a business owner, how to be a realtor. And that's why they take the 30% from your commissions.
Yes.
Like, that's how it works. That's how it works. So the trick is, basically get to that point where you can cap, but your fee is always, Keller Williams, it's always $20,000 a year.
Always.
Like it doesn't change from one year to the next.
No. Nope.
So your job is basically get to the
that
stage
paid.
Capped as quick as possible,
and then start recuperating.
But
then off of every deal, after every deal, off of your 100% commission, $150 goes to the administrative staff for every transaction.
Yeah, the deal fee.
The deal fee to process it. So it's still a fee,
some cost,
but it's not crazy. It's not $20,000.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's $150.
You know what I mean? We're here we are picking pins and needles out of a haystack and being, but like. Back to realtors and our day-to-day life. Lead generation. We talked about how fundamental it is.
Yeah.
What do you do for lead generation that provide, like, what are your staples that gives you business and allows you to grow?
Yeah, so I tend to look at it from 3 different aspects. So we've got 3 pillars to my business. I have a chase pillar.
Okay.
So I need to go and get it right now. So that would be, if we were allowed to do open houses, that would be open houses. It would be going to knock on doors to see if a certain neighborhood is thinking of selling.
Yep.
That equally applies to your buyers, where you could be knocking on a door saying, my client likes the outside of this house. If your inside's good, are you thinking of selling?
Yeah.
And then, so that's the chase stuff. Then I have my attract. Now the attract is a lot longer to get people to come to you because I'm not putting myself in the way of people who are looking to buy, sell, or invest. I'm just saying this is what I do to the universe, and enough people will find whatever that is, and then they will ring me.
Yes.
It's not me ringing them. It's not me finding them. They've already found me.
Yep.
So for me, that's the YouTube videos, that's the website, that's the Instagram, and it's all the things that you're just constantly giving away value, putting out information, and Google and the internet will find a way of rewarding you for that. So
if you put out enough consistent content that provides enough value, you will then see a return.
You will get found.
Yeah. You will get found.
People will be looking for you.
Yeah.
So that's the attract. Then the third pillar of my business is what we call our sphere of influence. So that's the people who already know, like, and trust me. So my job is to make sure that they're always remembering at some stage when somebody somewhere starts talking real estate, they feel the need to interrupt that conversation and say, oh my God, it sounds like you're buying real estate. It sounds like you're investing. It sounds like you need to sell. You need to talk to Richard.
You need to talk to Richard.
Yeah.
Because you need to.
Whatever it may be, you hope that always these people are people that are either you've done a deal with in the past and, they
family,
love you,
friends. Yep.
Yeah, my family, as you can tell, not here in Nova Scotia, so they're not helping me. I know,
the accents.
I know, yeah, it's so Nova Scotian. So, for me, it was all about how do I find those people to find the sphere?
Yeah.
So you chase them, you attract them, and then they become your sphere.
Yeah.
And then you just basically keep staying in touch with them and asking them when the need's right. I'm here to help.
That's the thing, is you have to consistently follow up.
Oh, yeah.
That's the trick.
Yeah. Because you never know when they're ready.
And you never know
the conversations they're having, you don't know they're happening.
You never know who's in the room.
Yeah.
You never know, because they might be at a house party or at a dinner party. They might be with friends. They might be on a Zoom. They could be talking to their parents.
Yeah.
And if you're not staying on top of mind for these guys, when that conversation comes up, all it takes is someone else saying,
oh my God, you should talk to my realtor.
You should talk to my realtor. You should talk to my friend. You should talk to this human. Yeah. They know everything because that human, that realtor, has been doing their job, lead generating 5 days a week to stay top of mind through maybe those pillars. Maybe they've been providing value on social media. Maybe they've been shooting messages every quarter asking for business by the sphere of influence. Maybe they've been out chasing. You know what I mean? All those things come together to help you build and grow your business. Yeah. But if you don't do them,
you'll find out. Your bank account in 90 days will tell you. It absolutely will. There's no doubt about it. Like, that's the ultimate measure of a good realtor is how's your bank account.
I would pivot that to how's your lead gen. Because if you do lead gen on a high level, your bank account, you never have to worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your bank account will be fine.
Yeah.
If you
for people like me and you anyway, this isn't always necessarily about the money. The money is the byproduct of us providing exceptional value to the people who need us.
That's right.
If we just keep doing that, you don't have to think about the dollar in the bank account because it'll just happen. It's just a byproduct of providing as much value as you can to the people that need you.
I learned a lesson last year in 2020. I learned a very, very valuable lesson that changed my career. I was under sales pressure to make sales, and I had about 3 or 4 clients that I was working with, and because I was under pressure, I think just subconsciously I put them under pressure. Right. I didn't mean to. I didn't know I was doing it. I need a sale just to, it's 2020. The whole world's burning. You need money in the account. Andy's business closed due to COVID, so we were in a tough bind, and it's the only time that I had been in that situation, and I had learned, and not one of those people bought. Yeah. And not one of those people called me back.
Right.
To buy again.
When they were ready.
And I know 2 of them bought. Right. I didn't take it personally. I'm not going to cry about that. I just learned the lesson never to get myself in my business be in that position again, because I never want to make anyone feel like that. You have to buy a house. It's your money. You can do with it whatever you want. My job is to advise and to make you achieve your goals. If your goals change, so be it. If you even want to change realtors, so be it. I'm not self-employed to work with people that don't want to work with me. Yeah. Let's just put that out there.
Yeah, that's hard, isn't it? Working with people who don't want to work with you. We're not going to do that.
Why would I'm not in the business for that. Nope. I'm in the business to help people, right? That's the whole thing. Yeah. And I learned, and in that moment, I was starting the podcast. Yeah. I was going through how to figure it out. But that moment in time just made me double down on how I felt to make sure everything I did was value first.
Yeah, you got to lead with value.
That's it.
Like we just said, lead with value and don't worry about the dollars. They'll take care of themselves.
And since that moment, I'm fine.
Life's easier.
Life's fine. I'm not as stressed about the dollars as I was, back then.
Yeah.
But it was a resounding lesson for me in how to navigate my anxiety, my stresses, lead generation. I don't skip a day. I don't skip Monday to Friday now.
Yeah.
That is not I don't sleep. If I miss lead gen, I don't sleep.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable because
something went wrong in the day.
Something did.
Yeah, you didn't do the work.
I didn't do the work.
No.
But and that's my advice to all new agents.
Yeah.
Is to find yourself someone that you can talk to and pick a brain off of. Even me, Richard, I'm sure we'll both happily get coffees.
It's that world of, the best people in the world either have a coach or they've got mentors.
Yeah.
So, for people like me and you, we're more than happy if there's time. Like obviously now time is a bit of an issue because we don't have a huge amount of it, but we're always, if somebody rings you and says, can I take you for lunch because I want to pick your brain and ask you a ton of questions? Like, what are we going to do? Say no? That's pretty unlikely.
I might say come to my house.
True.
I might say
go out for lunch.
I might say come to me. Yeah.
We can't go for lunch.
I might say, listen, I'm busy, but I've got this window on my couch, 8:30 to 9:30.
Yeah.
Come on over and I'll answer any questions you have.
And I've got 2 agents at the brokerage that are almost like shadowing me.
Yeah.
When number one, when I have time to them to come and meet me, we're not. I mean, it's hard with new agents because sometimes you're like, look, clients are clients, and they've got a way of kind of interacting with you as their realtor that is your style with those clients, and it works. So for me, I'm always saying to people, look, I've got no problem with you coming along because you need to learn. This is just my way. This is my style with my clients. Don't think you can just emulate me and it's going to be like rocket science for you and it's going to be great. Find your style, but at least you can learn from how I'm interacting and talking to people after like 10 years of doing this stuff, that people are like, yeah, I can kind of follow what he's doing and I understand like how to react with people, how to interact with them.
Yeah.
And that hopefully shortens your learning curve so that you get better quicker.
I had a great analogy for this last week. Jamie Green.
Yeah, I know Jamie Green.
I love Jamie.
Absolutely.
All the time for him. Shout out Jamie Green team. Jamie taught me almost everything I know about the business. Yeah. And we hadn't seen each other for a while. We got lunch a few weeks back. Yeah. And I took him for lunch finally because I could afford it. So I was like, I'm taking you out for lunch. I probably owe you 100 lunches for all the time you spent with me. Let me treat you. And we were talking. We hadn't had a good conversation in a few months. And he was talking. He was like, "You seem like you've grown up." I'm like, "I'm telling you, I've grown up a bit. I'm in a much better place." And he's like, "What have you been doing?" And I was like, "Well, like I've been talking to other realtors. I've been spending time with more people. I've been picking brains." And the way I said it was, I was like, "I've basically been wine selecting. I've been tasting everyone's various wines and figuring out what flavors I like, what flavor, what goes with what, and I've been trying to pick out my own formula for my own business." Yeah. And it by doing the tastings over the last 6 months to a year, I've come to a comfortable place where I'm like, okay, I know where I am in my business, and now I know how to. I'm gonna double down on the stuff I like doing and stop doing the stuff I don't want to do. Which is
there's a recipe for business success. Do more of what you like and less of what you don't. There you go, business 101.
But you say that, but like it's really hard because everyone has something that differently works for them.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different recipe, right?
Absolutely.
So when you're talking to realtors, someone might say, "Oh, my thing is Brivity." Brivity, for those of you that don't know, is a lead generation platform that provides people with deals for a monthly subscription fee. Yeah. It could be $1,000, $1,500, $3,000, depending on the level of subscription you want. They'll give you X amount of leads per month. Yep. That'll convert into X amount of deals per month. You will have a secure income. Yep. Some people's are open houses, which I feel bad for them because they've had a year of no open houses.
That's been tough, yeah.
Some people have sphere of influence. Some people have farms, which is a geographical area like the south end of Halifax. Fall River, downtown Dartmouth. Some people have door knocking. Some people have email subscriptions. Some people do podcasts. Some people, everyone has their own thing, and they all will tell you, this is what works for me.
Yeah. Great. There's the key thing. For me.
Yeah. But
Don't just think it's going to work for you. Just because I do it, and that's the way that I do it. I mean, you're Mr. Podcast, I'm Mr. YouTube.
yeah.
Like
I'm
it
coming
works.
though. I'm coming to YouTube.
Okay. So that's your style.
Yeah.
It's like find what works for you and do more of that.
Yeah.
Don't listen to somebody else and say, "Oh my God, they say door knocking is the best thing sliced bread. I've got to do it." Yeah, no, I am not going to be door knocking. It sucks and I don't like it, so I'm not going to do it.
I used to door knock religiously.
Yeah,
and it's miserable. It's a miserable experience.
It's hard. Really hard.
The amount of sheer rejection.
Yeah,
like just
you better
like,
have thick skin.
Yeah, you learn
big time.
You learn real quickly that people don't like you.
Yeah. Well, it's that situation where you almost are interrupting them in whatever they're doing.
You're not almost.
It's
a direct interruption.
So for me, I would never want to do that. It's like the whole idea of like cold calling. I'm like, no, that's not me. Like, my chase pillar is actually pretty small, but I've been in the business long enough that my sphere pillar and my attract pillar are huge.
Yeah, you've built the foundations.
Yeah. Yet the brand new realtor, you better have a massive chase pillar. You better be putting yourself in the way of business right now, because that's what you need to do right now. Brand
new agents, if I had any advice for them, is you've got to call your friends and family, and it sucks. Yeah. It's a crappy phone call. I don't like doing it myself, and
it's a variation of cold calling almost.
It's almost where you're like, hey, do you know anyone thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate? Like, that's the conversation. You got to get yourself out there in front of as many people as possible. If I had any advice to any new agents, it would be, don't buy all the shiny crap. Like, someone will tell
you don't need even 10% of that.
You should buy magnets so they can stay on everyone's fridges. You should buy keychains to give them their key on closing day so that they'll always remember you.
Yeah.
If you never call them again and ask them how their house is, they are not going to call you again.
Even if I've got the keychain?
Even if you've got the keychain, even if you got the magnet on the fridge, you can spend $8,000 and get nothing because you haven't asked the question. You haven't kept up the relationship.
Yeah.
I know it's always shocking. You and I have had this conversation where, like, I haven't had a business card in 2 years. I don't own one.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because, like, one of our jobs when we go viewings is leaving business cards. And I've gotten calls from agents saying, like, I haven't seen your business card. I'm like, I don't own one. You don't own a business? No, it's a waste of time. Everyone throws them in the garbage. It's what I do. I'm a regular human. I'm not special. I'm not, you give me a business card, it goes in the garbage.
Well, the whole point of the business card on the table was to let people know you'd been.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we're almost like ninjas. You go through the house and now we're not even allowed to like open closets and doors or anything. We don't turn lights on. So unless the person's left all the lights on, we leave it as we found it. But now with our digital showing system and the lockbox entry to get the key, you know that I've been through that house.
Maybe I'll just leave cupboards open.
Yeah. Just one random cupboard somewhere. Like, that wasn't open. Who's been in my house?
I'll just leave something innocuous moved, rotate a table like 75 degrees on an angle,
nice.
Move a plant.
Yeah.
I would want to let you know I was there.
Exactly.
No. But like, I don't own a website. Like, I don't do the conventional things that I've been told or the foundational pillars, and I'm fine. You don't need to get
Still
caught.
works for you.
You don't need to get caught up in all the bells and whistles of the business.
No.
It's finding out.
Worry about that stuff. So for new realtors, worry about that stuff when you've got a solid base.
Yeah, get the first.
When you're scaling.
Get the deal.
Exactly.
Get that first deal out of the way.
Get the friends, get the family, get the people who already know, like, they just need to trust that you can do the real estate deal for them. Get that figured out. Afterwards, and you've got some money behind you and you've got a bit of a steady business, then start playing with all the stuff that you know is going to cost you money that you need in case you've got to scale the business. Scaling. It's like, how do I now get in front of more than just, I've done my friends and family. How do I get in front of more now?
Right. But that's the question of how you provide value.
Yeah.
That's the answer to the question. And you need to figure out what that value proposition is.
Yeah.
Because that's how you get in front of more humans.
Yeah.
That don't know you. Is you got to find a way to get them value so that they want to call you and ask questions.
Yeah, because there's more people out there that don't know me versus know me.
There's 450,000 people in HRM.
So there's 449,190 something that don't know me yet.
Thank you.
But they're all listening to this, so now they do.
Well,
is that the way we did this? Is
I
that
don't.
the way it works?
We're putting money behind
We're getting there.
the video content, not the actual audio experience. But when we get to video, which you and I are doing it in 2 weeks, so we'll be on the first recorded one. We'll put money behind that, and you can take some of my audience.
There we go. That's how it's going to work. Got it.
Free advertising on me. I got you,
go.
my man. Don't just for your time. I'm going to bring it back full circle because I know you have viewings.
Yeah.
But I want to answer this question because we never actually got to it.
Right.
How do you take time off?
Oh, yeah.
And everything going on.
Right now it's a lot harder than it used to be. I was really good with all of my clients with setting expectations at that first conversation, whether it be Zoom, whether it be in a coffee shop, whether it be on the phone, like however that first conversation I always had that, okay, now here's one other thing you need to understand about me. I need a break. I need some time off. So I will be taking 1 full day per week off. Might be a Saturday, might be a Sunday. It's almost like whoever gets to me first and wants to see something on Saturday,
that's
great.
The day.
That means I'm taking Sunday off. Now, in the, let's say, the good old days, go back to 2019. Let's ignore 2020 a little bit because that was crazy enough. Let's go back to 2019. It was quite easy for me to be able to do that and not stress about the fact that, well, if we don't see this house on Sunday, because Sunday is Richard's day off, offers are in on Sunday, so you're screwed, basically. It was easier because we didn't have these restrictions on house goes to market 1 day, 4 days later, all offers to be in. So you didn't feel that worry of I'm going to miss out on seeing it. And there's lots of other people's looking at it because we didn't have all this competition. So back in 2019, it was a lot easier for you to have that conversation with clients. And they'd be like, do you know what? I get it. You've got a triathlons in your lifestyle. You've got dogs. You've got a wife. You've got 3 kids. I'm sure you want to spend some time with them and not with me all the time. So do you know what? We totally respect that.
Maybe not even time with them.
Yeah, maybe time alone.
Just time alone.
Yeah. Yeah, that sometimes once happens as well.
Not with humans.
Yeah, but that's for me. So that's why I'm doing triathlons. That's why I'm running, biking, and swimming. Because Jane, God love her, she does not want to run, bike, or swim with me. So that's Richard time. So that was fairly easy to do. Now it's so much harder because to take that day off could mean your client's not going to see the house and they're not going to get an offer.
The anxiety on that.
So that's hard. I mean, yeah, we're doing this on Friday. On Saturday, tomorrow, I've had to take the day off because I'm like, I've got a whole day of stuff around my house in Fall River I have got to do. There's stuff sitting on my driveway that is not meant to be sitting on my driveway. It should be somewhere else around the property and around the house. So I've deliberately taken that day off. But the impact of that right now is Richard's out of the house at 8:30 on Sunday morning and he's not back until 7 o'clock.
But that's
because we're seeing houses.
That's the business.
That's the
I
business.
do. I split it.
Right.
I split it. So I start. I time block this time for myself. And whatever for Anya and for spending time with friends is that like Saturday 4 p.m. to Sunday noon.
That's a good block of time.
That way I can drink and eat and like laugh,
relax,
and watch
socialize.
some soccer, or I can play some video games, or I can go out. I can't go out right now, but like do social activities. And I can still get out. I only do viewings and offers on weekends. So I don't do lead gen. I don't do, I try not to do podcasting stuff. I try not to do, I try not to create the content for social. That's Monday to Friday and I'll work 12 hours a day, 13, 14, 15 hours a day on that. So Saturday morning, early afternoon viewings, Sunday afternoon viewings.
Right.
And if I have to write offers, I'll write offers. I split the difference.
Yeah.
So that way I'm not losing a day because you can't. If I were you, I'd be really stressed about tomorrow.
It's going to be interesting to see like how the phone is going to go off tomorrow. But it's kind of just one of those situations that like, look, if it's a phone call that I've got to take, then
put it on silent.
Have to be done.
Put it on silent.
Well, the other thing is we're messing around with machinery. So I'm like, being distracted with a cell phone vibrating like a crazy lunatic's probably not a good idea.
Put it on silent.
Yeah.
And I would pre-emphasize this with, I'd let my clients know if you need me, text 911.
In front of the code. Yeah.
Yeah. Just tell them a code.
Started with 911 and then...
Or pineapple.
Message. Yeah, something. So that when you first see the cell phone screen, you can be like, oh, I do actually need to deal with this one.
Yeah.
As opposed to you just don't bother.
Yeah. That way, I find people, when you take away a whole day...
Yeah.
they get very, very anxious, and that anxiety comes off in multiple texts.
Yeah.
With the half day that I'm doing, and I guard it like a hawk. I don't give that time away for anyone other than Anya. With the half days, if they text me at 5 p.m. on a Saturday, I can easily say, hey, I got it tomorrow. I'll be in touch.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
It's a different.
That's easy to deal with. Yeah.
It's the only way I manage to stay sane in this nonsense.
Yeah. I mean, we got to get through this kind of a market for me to then go, okay, what do we, because the other thing for me as well is it's a struggle with the amount of people that you're trying to help when you're trying to help them all.
Yeah.
So my biggest challenge now is like, we're going to need someone to help. Like Richard does not have enough time in the days to be of the service he needs to be to all the people that want his service.
I've already spoke to you and another Jamie. I've spoke to my two like guys that I look to for answers who have been in the industry longer than me about hiring an administrator, because I'll be probably be looking to hire one in September, the fall.
Yeah.
Because I know that it's getting to the point now where it's going to be too much. If I'm pretty good in my head, but if I'm forgetting things now that I would never forget.
Yeah, so that's a sign.
That's it. When I know like that example I used earlier in the podcast where I said someone sent me a text at 2 and I'm remembering it at 10:30.
Yeah.
That's not me. I'm usually pretty on the ball with that stuff. Yeah. I'm pretty sharp. And I know that when that's going on, I've got
too much going
on.
Yeah. You need help.
Yeah. Not yet, because the money's on the bank account to pay for it yet.
True.
But if the summer goes as like it's looking to, we can start interviewing.
Start planning.
Yeah, and start putting the pillars in place.
I'll send you some stuff I've got on that.
Oh, please.
Some stuff to help you through the process.
Oh my, Jamie just sent me a full like to-do list.
Yeah.
And it's like at the bottom of my to-do list.
Yeah, that's the problem. You got to find time for it.
That's right. Because it's like,
push that up the priority list, because the more you procrastinate over dealing with it, the worse everything's going to be. So
I know.
You know that. You don't need me to tell you that.
I know, but
I'll just keep reminding you of it.
Just keep sending me a text I'll have you and Jamie asking me to join EXP and get an assistant.
Yeah. That's two things to make your life easier. Because then then when you do those two things, we'll stop bugging you about it.
Oh my God. Okay. Richard, man, I know you, I know you got to go.
Yep.
Thank you so much for taking the time again. I'm sorry the first one went chipmunky. I'm going to play this.
Put it in there. I want to hear some.
I'm going to play this recording back after you leave so that we can make sure it sounds right.
There you go.
Always a pleasure. Thank you again.
Always.
I'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
All right.
See ya.
Bye. If you'd like to get in touch with Richard, you can reach him at 902-489-1804 or richard@richardpayne.ca. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, you can reach me at 902-220-7357 or jason.paul@kw.com. Thanks again. Bye.